You, me, and HIFMB, Stories of Science and the Sea.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the HIFMB podcast. You've probably noticed that our publishing times have been a bit irregular, let's say, lately. And that's because we are doing this job of podcast publishing on the side. So this is in our free time, basically. We're not paid for this. And with the move of moving buildings last year and now me going into a new project and all of these things that come with our actual jobs, we had to push the podcast a little bit to the side. But we promise to give you episodes as soon as we can and as regular as we can. And today I talked to Daniela Portella Sampaio from the Marine Governance Group, who works on the people of Antarctica, more specifically intersectionality in Antarctica and the politics and the governance of Antarctica. It's a super interesting topic. It's a very, very interesting field that she's worked herself into with her career. And I really enjoyed this chat, and I'm sure you will too. This is very, very interesting. So without further ado, I give you Daniela Portella Sampaio. Okay, welcome everybody to the next episode of the HIFMB podcast. And today I have Daniela Portella Sampaio here. And she will talk about intersectionality in Antarctica, which is a really interesting topic. Hello, Daniela.
Oh, hello, Jan. Thank you so much for having me here.
No worries, anytime. So, you brought a really interesting paper that dives apparently straight into what you work on, which is intersectionality in Antarctic research. But you're not an author on the paper. Do you have any connection to the authors? So we will link this paper in the show notes.
Yes. So I know in person two of the authors of this article, and I have always been a great admirer of their work.
Okay.
And so it's nice to discuss. I actually had the idea to bring this topic to my current project. Mm-hmm. So I thought that it was the best way to talk about it is to share a nice discussion.
Yeah, fantastic. So what exactly is the topic that they work on or that you work on?
So my current project is about comparing the national Antarctic programs in terms of their capacity to implement decisions they make in the diplomatic space of the treaty, which is the Antarctic Treaty consultative meetings. And I think what is interesting is because always Antarctica is regarded or considered in terms of the natural science and this kind of discoverers and explorers who went there. And for me, I have always been interested about this other side of Antarctica that is like the people. And I think when we talk about the people, it's like, but actually, who is there and who are these people? And then when I think there was such a gap in Antarctic research in terms of who are the people that are actually in Antarctica. And then I came across this study. So I know Morgan Seag and I know Hanne Nielsen. They are the authors. And one of them, I think. And then I thought it would be so nice to discuss a little bit in terms of when we are talking how we see Antarctica domestically when we are not there, we are here in our daily lives. But what to think about how we represent Antarctica and who we think it's there. Yeah.
So who are the people of Antarctica? Is there anybody living in or a citizen of Antarctica? No,
but we have scientists that normally they winter there. They spend 1 year sometimes, and so this is a tricky thing. When we discuss who owns Antarctica, but then we just but who is in Antarctica?
Exactly.
And normally, we have just these people that are passing by, so scientists getting their projects and then leaving, tourists that are very curious about it. But the terms of how do you think about your connection or the relationship you can build to a land in terms of who are the people who build their lives or their imaginations in that place, and we don't have any. So yeah, that for me is like fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fascination started quite early for you, right? Like you've worked on Antarctica a lot.
Yeah, like it's a funny story. I was in my university and I passed by this lab about archaeology in
Yeah.
Antarctica, and I thought like, that's absolutely like crazy. What they are excavating is not paleontologists, or you're excavating vegetables or I don't know, plants and whatever. You are excavating the leftovers or the remnants of people who have been there in the past, and that how I was very curious. And then there was there was like a kind of a big debate among my friends, like in the university. Some archaeologists were going to the Amazon, and I thought like, well, that's amazing. Like you're going to like research and find the indigenous ceramics and like their history, their material history.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is the material history, the human material history of Antarctica? And then I always thought like, oh, if I could, I would go to Antarctica because like it seems so fun. And someone said, oh, you can actually go. And I was like, really? And they said, yeah, so normally we have this team and they go on expeditions. And I needed to convince people to get me there.
Yeah.
And I had a degree in international relations. So I just dropped international relations in Antarctica. And people thought, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really relevant, yeah.
And that's how everything started. I just really wanted to go to see who were there.
Yeah.
What was their material history. So then,
Cool.
in 2012, I went there.
Yeah. With under what university is this? Or?
Yeah, it's the Federal University of Minas Gerais.
Yeah,
That's UFMG. That's how we call.
And how does Brazil have any connection to Antarctica?
So we have like a scientific research station. And what if Antarctica affects Brazil because of all the cold we get, and affects our agriculture because we need to understand rain and the rain patterns and droughts and everything like that. But someone just joined and said, "Whoa, actually, we need to understand how people are there, like and who were there before, what they used to do." So yeah, they have this very interesting project that I had the absolutely luck to join, although I was not an archaeologist, but I needed to excavate.
Yeah.
And I found a shoe, which for me was unbelievable.
Yeah. How old was it, the shoe?
I think it was from the late 19th century, something like that. Yeah. And at the same time, it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm not an archaeologist.
Yeah.
How can I excavate without destroying the proof? And you found as well games, like, because these were sealers and whalers.
Yeah. Okay.
And their location was hidden because these were like very disputed commercial spots. But still, they were there and they needed to like distract themselves and spend time. Yeah. So for me, and like one of the a project that was from one of the historians there was about the perception of time. How do you perceive time when there's like light and you have no external? Yeah. So that's when, like, for me to understand the people from Antarctica, although they were not born there.
Yes. Yeah. That's absolutely fascinating. So let's get into intersectionality. The title of the paper is actually Towards Intersectional Approaches to Gender Change in Antarctic Research. And what is intersectionality? What intersects? Or
So like this is again, I think I was so interested about people in Antarctica because my background is in sociology. So I'm a sociologist, like from undergrad and masters, and when you are studying society, you understand that, or you learn that people have different ways of classifying and identifying themselves with regards to each other, in relation to each other. So sometimes we classify ourselves in terms of possessions, class, but class can be economical, can be cultural, also how knowledgeable or how many degrees you are, or the professions you have. And there are also other forms of classification in terms of ethnicity and race, or even power, like what the kind of power position you have. So each human group would have a specific way of classifying themselves. But you can differentiate, but the problems of society is when you start to create a hierarchy between these different classifications, these different definitions. So if you think, oh, if you have a degree, you are better or higher, or if you have more money, it's how you put values in these differences. And intersectionality is to understand this process of classification, better or worse, or higher or lower, but actually that overlaps. So for instance, I'm a woman in terms of gender. I am Brazilian and British now, but I was born in Brazil. So that's my nationality. And then I'm actually a white Brazilian, but I'm not that white once I'm in Europe. So it changes as well the place where you are. And I have a degree. So this puts me in a specific position in society that defines or creates a way that people will respond to me and the way that I will see the world. So basically that's like an idea of what is intersectionality, these different sections that you can place and classify people.
Super interesting. And so the paper kind of, like I'm spoilering now, but the paper kind of ends with the sentence, by embracing intersectional approaches to change, and so on and so on. I'm paraphrasing. And then Antarctica can realize its full potential as a place for peaceful scientific collaboration. And by and for all humanity. I love that. And how does this work? Like, how can intersectionality actually be practically applied to Antarctica and Antarctic research?
Yeah, so I think that was such a timely paper, because when we are interested about the people in Antarctica and you go through the history, like as I was saying, who were there, sealers, whalers, and then explorers, and then scientists, and it tends to be because of the environment that was very rough. So Antarctica, it's so funny. If you're going to see the name of the island, it's isolation, deception, and you're just like, people were really upset of being there, but I think it's just because the conditions were, like the environmental conditions were so rough. So I think that Antarctica has always been like almost branded in this very masculine and physically strong place where it does not fit our perceptions of where women should be, and or when different, not the European white explorer, but also people from different parts of the world. And I think that this paper is timely because they are discussing what are the place of women there, and how can we combine these two perceptions. And I think that when we go through history, it's interesting to see, well, this is absolutely not related, but I have a point. When we are talking about gastronomy and culinary, like where is the best place in the world to eat? And there is a theory that the best place to eat is the place where you have lots of migration flows throughout history.
Yeah, definitely.
Because each group brings their own seasonings and their own taste or combination of elements. And sometimes when you are exposed to these different things, you start to have new ideas of making food. And then you have this explosion of gastronomy. But when you start to close yourself, no, I don't want to eat, and then you start to have, like, you get stuck into your own food, you stop being creative. You're not exposed to different things. So the idea is that intersectionality, or considering the differences that people can bring, can make any environment richer.
And fully agree. And where do you think we are in that process for Antarctica?
I think we still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like equivalent or there's no balance. It's still, for instance, if such a physical place, there was a very interesting work from another colleague, Alice Oates, which is very interesting. Her work with SCAR and her was about how the terms of disability and how can you include people with some sort of disability in the field work, for instance, not only in the institutes where we are, but actually being able to be there and also experience as a researcher. So I think that this is when you have people with different backgrounds and with different conditions, this brings different questions, new perspectives on the same problems. And I think that science can only benefit from this encounter of ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if this is your expertise at all, but are there practical ways on how to integrate women more, for instance, into Antarctic research? Like practical ways?
Well, considering, like, for instance, the study that Meredith Nash has done, it was like a kind of a survey about how women felt in these. There was, I think it was very specific to the Australian Antarctic program, but it was like there was any form of discrimination or some form of harassment, and I think that it pervades not only this very secluded place as Antarctica, but it's also present in the institutes where we are. In what extent women are safe to say that they don't feel comfortable. Because sometimes they will not even apply for a position because they will be afraid for their safety, and if there is anything they cannot complain because there's no good channels to ensure that people can voice their discomfort if they don't feel that they are being properly included. So I think that maybe the best way would be to assure that first there are the channels and that the channels are properly working in second, so people feel comfortable and safe to be there. And I think that it's a kind of a cycle. It's about representation. Again, I drift, but that's I have also a point. There is a Brazilian sailor, and like she I think she said, I don't know if that's actually factual, but she's only one of the few unique females in the whole world that has wintered in Greenland on her own.
That's quite an achievement.
On her boat. So she sailed to Greenland, and she like made her ship being like stopped by the ice, and she spent the winter all by herself.
Incredible.
Which I thought was amazing. And then she was talking about how she was concerned when she was giving these interviews from her boat, how she was going to look like, because she was not concerned about these things when she was on her own. But when the camera was on it, she was like, oh, do I look like acceptable for people that are kind of in society or in civilization, because she was completely in a remote place. And then she was saying, well, for me it's quite interesting because I always see these pictures of these explorers with their long beard full of eyes. And she said, I have never seen a woman full of eyes in her eyebrows or nose for me to see what am I supposed to look like in that place, in that condition. So it's the power of image and the power of seeing yourself as well there. And how would you look there? Yeah,
that's great. Super interesting. There's also this in the paper that you brought. There's this iceberg metaphor that I really liked to kind of highlight these barriers, let's say, where it's basically the tip of the iceberg that you see is sexual coercion, and then unwanted sexual attention, and then under the ice under the water, basically the bulk of the iceberg, there's gender harassment things, which kind of highlighted this whole topic better to me. And especially Antarctic research, like being on a boat and or on an icebreaker research ship or whatever, this is so much heightened.
Yeah, and I think this, like, I don't know, metaphor of the iceberg about the things that actually people are still a little bit comfortable to share that happened, but there are many things that we probably don't know because you don't have the channel, or you are afraid of the repercussions. I say, and that is the trickiest thing. And when I went to Antarctica just once. That only part that I found my shoe, that's not mine, belongs to probably some museum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when you were there camping, you are completely isolated. You just have your group.
Yeah.
So you need to be sure that everybody's properly trained to be in this isolated, because again, Antarctica does not have like their original settlement of people, but we bring everything from our society, from our non-native species that will be bacteria or plants and seeds that will like contaminate that environment, but also all the problems we have in terms of society. That is the discrimination, the sexism, the power disputes. We also, because we are humans, we also bring all these points to there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How long were you in Antarctica? How long was the trip?
1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 In Antarctic summer, always the expeditions are. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was in January 2012.
Yeah.
Yes. A long time.
Does it get dark at all?
No, very little.
Yeah,
very
okay.
little. Yeah. So it's light and
Yeah.
it's just the wind to make you feel a little bit cooler, because it's not that cold at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you say camping, what do you camp in? Is it tents or?
Yes,
Yeah,
in
literally.
tents,
All right.
literally in tents.
Okay.
Because when sometimes you need to go to collect your samples. For scientists, for us, was excavating where they knew these sites were, and you are far away from a research station. So, you are given the boxes with everything, and we set up the tent, and we stay there, say goodbye to the ship, have a radio, and
Wow.
that's it. Yeah.
Are there any? How do they know the positions where they search? Are there like settlements left or little buildings?
Yeah. Oh no, they go. I think they go in these archives to know where probably the sailors and whalers have like traveled, or they have collected their material, like harvesting the seals and whales, and then you can kind of think where you should excavate.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you start, and then you. Sometimes, and then you find,
It was
which
successful
is amazing.
with a shoe.
I was very happy. I was so happy.
Fantastic. Okay. Now diving a bit more into you as a person or as an academic. It says, like you mentioned before, you work on international relations, and that's like your calling card, basically. How did that interest came about for you?
Yeah, I think I have always been interested about people. So for me, like I'm Brazilian, and my hometown in Brazil is a big city, like I think 2 million people.
Where is it?
Belo Horizonte.
Ah, yeah, okay, yes.
Oh, it's easy. Like if you are a football fan,
exactly.
World Cup, you would know that was the place where Brazil lost for Germany 7-1.
Yeah.
There.
That's exactly why I know it. I'm sorry.
There. It's the easiest way to introduce people to my hometown.
Yeah. Fantastic. Great.
Oh, yeah, I remember that day. But so Belo Horizonte, like many years ago, we did not have many foreigners, and for me it was, when I would see one, I thought it was amazing to see someone communicating, like sounds coming out of their mouth that probably meant something that I did not know. And I was like, that's amazing. People can speak different languages and people look differently, but we are like the same because we eat and that this difference and similarity for me have always been fascinated. And then I wanted to understand how different people of course, we have our countries. This is a way that we organize ourselves in our planet.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, so how similar and how different we are. I think that has always been my curiosity.
Yeah. And sorry.
Yeah. That's why I decided to do international relations.
Yeah. And you also speak a lot of languages, like talking about languages just now, like you speak English, Portuguese, Spanish, French, German. I mean, that's quite a lot.
I don't know. Like, I don't think I can say I speak. Like, I survive, I communicate.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah, but I think languages, like, when you start learning, I don't know, there's sometimes words that cannot be translated. And I think, like, when you learn a word and you understand the meaning of that word that cannot be translated, it feels like that you can kind of have a glimpse of someone else's world that before you would not have access of feelings and of meanings. And that for me, I say, how do they see the world? I want to see how they see it.
Yeah.
And that has always been my...
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, I can, from your CV, I can kind of guess where English, obviously Portuguese and German come from, but Spanish and French, where do they come from?
So, with the Spanish came because of my work with the treaty. So during my PhD, I managed to get an internship with the Antarctic Treaty Secretariat.
Yeah.
And they are based in Buenos Aires.
Okay, good.
And then my Spanish became the Spanish from Buenos Aires, which is very specific. People say, why do you speak like with this Argentinian accent? Yeah, I think, although it's also with Portuguese accent. And like this is where the Spanish comes from. And French, when I was doing my master's, I was again very interested about integration of migrants in states. And I had like this study on France. So I learned French because I wanted to read and understand that society. Yeah.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful language, so
yeah,
easy.
Definitely. Yeah. I think both Brazilian Portuguese and French sound really nice. But you also work on the or in like the little brief summary on top of your CV, which I really like. It also says that you work on the area beyond national jurisdiction, and specifically the human dimensions in that. And so I myself work on the BBNJ agreement, which is the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction agreement. Do you think it will be ratified this year, or there will be enough ratifications this year? Just like guessing, I don't know. I don't know it.
My guess is like to have everybody on board takes time. That's, I think, if I would guess, I think it would take time. I don't want to be that. It's not about pessimism. It's and that's the whole thing about my current project. My current project is what elements inside the state push them to actually approve, or makes them next year or next year, next year, and like it's just too many people, different interests. So you need to have everybody on board inside that state so they can ratify. That was something that different states have to do. Like, it's difficult, but I think I'm enthusiastic of international law. I think that the fact that we, with all our differences, we still manage to have some form of sharing. It takes time, but I think it's worth it. Yeah,
you probably working in Antarctica so much, you probably have a lot of experience with international law and international treaties, and it also mentions here the Antarctic treaty system, which I'm interested about, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah. So the Antarctic, we call ATS, Antarctic Treaty System, because it's a combination of the treaty that was established in 1959. But after that, the treaty evolved with agreements that they were making throughout the years there, and different conventions. So CAMLAR, the Convention on the conservation of marine living resources. This is a different convention, but there was that, like, the source, the core came from the treaty. So you have all these different agreements that try to cover a piece of Antarctica, and that together they form this Antarctic treaty system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is an absolute wild imagination for me. I've never been to one of these negotiations, but it must be wild when those nations sit together and have to agree on something.
Yeah, and I think what I love about these kind of meetings is actually putting a face on a flag. So like you say, oh, the United States, but who is or who are the United States?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's that group of people that are actually representing the United States, but they are humans. So they get tired, they get annoyed, they receive orders, they try to make their job, because it's a job, the best as they could, but they are, and you just like, sometimes you see this very immaterial object that is the law, the agreement, the treaty, but they are all made by people like us, and I love the humanity that's like, oh, they are disagreeing, but who are disagreeing? It's the state who is disagreeing, or actually the people that really are annoyed with each other. And it's fabulous.
This is fabulous indeed.
Yeah.
How do you, in your work, how do you report about this? Like, is it that you record things that are said in the negotiations, or you observe them and then report on it, or?
So like my work is, I help the Secretariat the Secretary of the Antarctic Treaty, they need to organize the meetings, and they assist the meetings in terms of organizing the agenda, or helping with the report and sharing the report, the drafts. So, but like, it's intense, so they need extra help during these days. So that's why they call me.
Right.
So my role is drafting just the draft. Like, I don't decide anything. I'm literally representing or helping the treaty there. So it's drafting the measures that they will agree, yes or no, change or not. But like the draft someone needs to create. It's like it's a kind of very simple task for these people that have short time to be together. So they need to be concentrated on the substantive things. So all the agenda and taking notes, and also having the memory of how a discussion is the way it is at that moment. So why are we discussing this right now? What has been agreed 5 years ago? Or so this kind of, and because I have been there, so like, oh, actually, this happened. So that's why we are discussing this topic in this way. And I kind of start to be very vague. This is a
No, I think this is valuable. This is really
because we try not to. When you are vague, you allow people to add in this space of vagueness any information, any topic they want. Is kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
So this must take a lot of time to build that amount of rapport with people, and then that amount of knowledge of the negotiations, like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or
but
takes a lot of time.
Yeah, but it's sometimes what I do every day. So it's a problem, because then you start to be very Antarctic focused, and it's an amazing work to at the same time observe and help them, like, don't argue because something is written in a way that you think your country would not like. Actually, this was written and agreed 7 years ago. So this is not against you. This is how, like, and give a little bit of context, because sometimes I think diplomacy breaks basically for many misunderstandings and miscommunication.
And taking things out of context.
Exactly. And if you try to clean the way, it's like, no, it's not because of that. Like, focus on the topic. That's my work.
Exactly. And now this is like, I circled this with a big wow. You are now on your second Marie Skłodowska-Curie postdoctoral fellowship. This is quite an achievement.
Yes.
Even just getting one of them is incredible.
Oh no, thank you. I'm very proud. So it's just like a little bit like shy, but at the same time I'm proud.
Yeah,
So
you can be.
yeah.
You should be.
Yeah, and it's thanks. I think I say thanks to Antarctica is because being in the meetings and I just start to have questions.
Yeah.
And I just like I need to answer that, and then the questions become research projects, and then the first research proposals.
Yeah. So also I noticed that in your two Marie Curie fellowships, they're both named with these acronyms of Polar Pole and then Polar Gov.
Yes.
Were they calls of the European Commission or are they? No,
they ask us to create these acronyms because I think it helps to...
You created it?
Yes.
Ah, right. Okay,
yes,
nice.
Yes. So the first one I was interested about the governance, and then I was like, okay, I think I've understood how this works. Now I want to understand the politics.
Yeah.
So that's why I became Polar Pole, a continuation of Polar Gov. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, now I kind of go in reverse of what I started now with your current project, because I go through your education basically chronologically. So we'll start at the beginning. You already mentioned that you did your bachelor in, but that wasn't on international relations, right?
I will blame my father because I got approved in 2 different universities, and I wanted to do international relations, but he wanted me to be in this very prestigious university that was social science.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
And then he said, no, try to do the 2 degrees at the same time until you are sure which one you want to give up.
That was my next question. Were they overlapping because it's 2 degrees?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do a double degree or no?
Yes.
Okay, right.
Yes. Why? I was young and I was unable to make decisions.
Okay.
I don't advise.
This must have been quite stressful, no?
Yes, but I think that this was helpful because sometimes international relations again you might end up very concentrated in the politics, international politics, and I think to have the social science as a background, it helps you to understand the world not as like these people clash of interests, but as a society.
Yeah. Oh, wow, this is well said.
Yes. So it's like, this society is organized in terms of a state system. Yes, we are organized in terms of a national state. But because of the sociologists, you start to see the world as a society. And I think that was very helpful and kind of shaped the way I was doing my research.
Yeah, great. And this is at the Federal University of Minas Gerais?
Yes, perfect, yeah.
Thanks. And then you also did your master's there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. And did you have what was your master's thesis on?
Was about the integration of migrants in France.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
Thanks. I was curious about, it's very funny, I was curious about what makes someone feel that they belong. That was my question behind, and France was a good case.
Yeah.
But then I thought that it was so difficult to deal with people that I said, no, I want to do my PhD in something that had no people. I cannot, and you cannot escape. The society is back there, and the idea of belonging, it's there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of your PhD, you abbreviated as DSC, so Doctor of Science.
Yeah, that's the degree they gave us.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Brazil.
In Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also noted that your thesis has been, which is fantastic. Your viva has been approved without corrections, which I did my PhD in the UK, and they have the same system. Is it because you did a PhD visiting studentship in the UK?
Yes,
okay.
But my degree would be only Brazilian, but I have done this research period in Royal Holloway.
Okay.
Yeah, with Klaus Dodds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll get to that in a second. But Brazil has the same grading system as the UK, or?
Yes, yeah, but we can say that the PhD would not be graded, but yes, you can have corrections.
Yeah. I mean, if you have no corrections, you put that in your CV.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. Okay, talking about your CV, about your PhD. So what was it on? How did you get there? You didn't really escape people.
No, I could not. Like the idea of the idea of the thesis was like until when I went to Antarctic in 2012, I was still doing my sociologist migration studies. But I was also interested about the relationship between countries down there. And the captain of the Brazilian, because we go to Antarctic in the Brazilian Antarctic program, we go by Brazilian Navy.
Yeah.
So it's a Navy ship, and they help us, they provide us the logistics to go where we need to go in terms of the data collection we need to do. And yes, and then the captain of the ship, he said like, "Oh, you're doing international relations?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Oh, like, land with me. I'm going to make a visit to the Chilean Antarctic station, and it'll be interesting for you to get to know how things work." And I was like, "Oh, brilliant." And then I went with the captain, like kind of abandoned the archaeologist for a moment.
Yeah.
And there was the station of Frey, and close to the station of Frey, there is the Russian station of Bennigshausen. And they needed to discuss something that I was not supposed to be there because it was security. And they said, go there, go like have a walk and visit the Russians. And I was like, oh, okay. So they allowed me to walk, the Chileans and the Brazilians. And if I was like, am I walking? Am I in Antarctica? Is this a road? Is this not a road?
Yeah, this is incredible.
And then I went to, I got to the Russian station. And then I was like, they don't know that I'm here.
Yeah.
And I said, how do I introduce myself?
Yeah, exactly.
How do I make myself, oh, hi, I'm here. Can I come in? And that for me was like, that was the point of the PhD. I was like, there's no bell, so I cannot ring a bell. Like, do I knock the door? So I knocked the door. And there was nobody listened, nobody responded. And I was like, maybe that is a very Brazilian way. You clap your hands and shout, so then someone from the house can come and see you. Yeah. And I clapped, and nobody. And then I was like, well, what do I do? Maybe I should come in and they will hear me better. But the moment I opened the door, and I was like, am I invading a country or not? Yeah. And then that's the whole idea of the thesis. I wanted to understand if Antarctica was an exception in terms of our ideas of house, territory, land it belongs to the state, belongs to me, belongs to all of us, belongs to no one. Am I invading? Which is the code? What is the how can I be polite there?
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like the best PhD origin story I've ever heard.
That's how. So my thesis was to understand how the treaty tried to or developed considering this weird or indefinition of Antarctica ownership.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was my thesis.
Super interesting. And it was in collaboration with the Royal Holloway University.
Yes. So I had like the privilege to work with Professor Klaus Dodds because he's expert in geopolitics, and I was afraid I was being very naive. And I was like, no, I need to have a very critical lenses on my work. And it was a fantastic time.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
And during your PhD, I think you also did a consultancy work.
So because I wanted to understand, like, okay, we have a treaty, but how this treaty developed considering this Antarctic awkwardness, a land without honor, or people saying this belongs to me, but nobody acknowledges that, or many people don't acknowledge that. How do you develop law and rules and norms when this is not defined? So I wanted to understand how the treaty worked, and again, like pure luck, the secretary had these internship positions opened. So I went to Buenos Aires to work with them to understand, like, how does it work, like the machinery, like the engine of the treaties, like these people in their offices updating the measures that were agreed, contacting countries and providing information, but like that engine. So I went there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Antarctica really gets you places.
Luckily, yes.
And luck, apparently. I don't know. You seem very good at getting grants as well. Like your grant and fellowship page on your CV is long. Do you have any secrets on how to get grants that you want to share?
Oh, like I don't think I don't have any secrets.
Or tips? Maybe let's not call them secrets.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I'm very passionate about I'm very curious, and I want to answer the questions I have.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just like I need to convince someone to give me money.
Yeah.
Because this is very interesting, and everybody can learn. So I think that is the drive. Like, we could all be working very boring, not boring, because every job is interesting in some way. But you can have an easier life without. And decide not being an academic. So if I'm going to be an academic, I want to read what I like and what I'm interested. So I need to convince people to allow me to do that. So I think that the grant is, please fund me to answer that. I can answer that if you give me resources. So I think that's the drive. But I think that's the CVs, they always have the success. They don't have all the rejections.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like should be like the other list. Grants not approved.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Keep trying is one of the big tips. But I think you also, like, one big tip that I can drag away from this is that you convey your curiosity very well. And even in this podcast, like, your curiosity just shines through. So I imagine that will come through in your applications as well.
Oh yeah. Maybe that's the secret.
Yeah, maybe that's one of them for sure. So your first Marie Curie fellowship got you to Leeds, to the University of Leeds.
Yeah. So I was in the UK, and like everything like gets a continuation. I was writing the thesis, and I was like, okay, yes, now I understand how this thing works, but do people agree with that? So that was my question. So, and what kind of things that like puts pressure on the Antarctic Treaty? And that in that time, maybe until today, it's tourism and marine protect areas. So I just did, like in Leeds, that is the School of Earth and Environment. I just talked to people. I just wanted to talk to people and ask them, do you think that the treaty is good for what you think that the treaty should be doing? That was the question. And I love to talk. I love a good chat. And then I was just like trying to understand. And for me, for my surprise, everybody has like many criticisms. But at the same time, no, but like live as it is. Like this is the best we can. I feel like as if you have like your house or your family, that you have always criticisms to your siblings or how people can be annoying, but you defend them. No, that's my family. Like that's my brother. Don't talk. I can talk about my brother. You can. Nobody else can. Just I think that's the spirit that I've got from this Marie Curie.
Yeah, definitely. That's and you're so you were in England or in the UK before, and then because of your PhD, and then did you stay? Or?
I returned to Brazil.
Okay.
Defended. And then I was applying at the same time for Leeds, and then
I see. Okay.
I got back.
Are Marie Curie fellowships always 2 years?
Always 2 years.
Yeah.
I wish it was longer, but
Okay. How many can you get actually? Is there a limit?
No, as long as you are eligible.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not anymore, so I think I went to. I don't think they would give me more. It's enough.
And in between I guess there's a secondment as well that is on your CV. I don't know what that is. What is a secondment or secondment?
A secondment.
Secondment.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's an internship. So I have in this Marie Curie, I was more interested about politics, and also which is like super like the interaction between science and politics as well, because interferes in how you want to implement. The scientists need to convince politicians to do the job.
Yeah, exactly. It is like it was described to us by a literature professor, I think, at the university. Like he asked you, so what do you do? And I explained what I do. And then, so you're basically lobbying for marine biodiversity. And at first I was like, no. But then, yeah, kind of. Yeah. In a way, yeah.
I think lobbying is loaded.
I know,
a little
exactly.
bit.
It's a loaded term, but it applies.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's what differentiates a scientist from a business. Maybe we think, well, we have in our interest is the common good, and maybe business does not have the common good as their main interest, but
maybe some of them.
Yeah, there is specific interest from specific people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference. But the process is quite similar. It's trying to push an agenda. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I went to The Hague for that's the European Polar Board that tries to organize the different European polar programs, and I wanted to understand how are they doing this intermediate job of getting all these input from scientists and at the same time trying to make that interest for politicians,
That's
and
interesting.
decision makers,
I would love to go there too. Okay, and in between your two Marie Curie fellowships, you went to Bielefeld, yeah?
Yes.
Is that a DFG grant?
There was the DFG. There was a grant from the university, was not mine.
Yeah.
But there was all about the Arctic, which was not my expertise. I was focused on the South for so many years.
Right.
But they wanted someone who had this understanding of the diplomacy, maybe of the polar regions. And so I wrote a chapter on the Arctic Council for their book, but it's still I think I'm very a novice in Arctic. It's a different thing. Not only that Antarctica is a continent and the Arctic is a frozen sea, which makes it physically different.
Yeah.
But the geopolitics. Not the geopolitics, but the international law is different. Yeah.
Wow. And then came your second Marie Curie fellowship.
Yes, and I had to leave them. I could not finish the project with them. I just wrote the chapter.
Right. Okay.
To do the Marie Curie. Antarctica was stronger.
Yeah. Okay. And now, can you elaborate on what comes after, or where do you want to go after this Marie Curie fellowship?
I have no idea. I think it has been, I think I started my first Marie Curie was 2017. So I think I'm now reaching a moment that I need to write everything down.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah.
So my plans are, of course, we need to keep researching, but I think before having new ideas and new questions, I just want to kind of share and write. I think that's the moment. So I will take some time this year after finish to write.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you also mentioned that you're English now as well?
Yes, I've become British.
Really?
Yes.
All right. How come?
Well, I was in the UK for
quite some time.
Right,
okay.
And then my husband is British, so
is he still there or?
Yes, he's still there.
Okay.
So and then I needed to I thought that it was easier at least to know that I can come back home and to my house and everything is there. So the plans are get back to Egham and write.
Egham?
Egham is where I live. That's close to Royal Holloway. So
okay, I see. Right.
That's the city, town. Yeah.
Fantastic. I wish you all the best with it.
Oh, thank you.
And this was a really interesting chat. This is a really interesting career that you have.
Oh, no, thank you. And thank you for the questions. And that, it reminded me how much I like this. Sometimes I feel but no, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thanks.
Yeah.
Want to dive deeper? Surf over to hifmb.de.